I've got to introduce R.S. Thomas to you in about 2 or 3 minutes, which is really hard, because R.S. Thomas's published output spans over 50 years. His first book got published just after the Second World War, and his last came out in 2002, which is 2 years after he died. They started out writing mostly about that part of rural Wales where he lived and worked, and he populated these sort of sad, angry narrative poems with this recurring cast of characters, Job Davis, a corrupt chapel deacon, and a straight-talking farmer called Prydurk. And then later on he started talking about bigger subjects: sex, politics, religion, family relationships, and it got both less personal and more personal at the same time, if that makes sense. I've got to be honest with you, there's not a whole lot of laughs in R.S. Thomas's work. And when there is humour, it's kind of sardonic and bitter. There's a lot of beauty, though, real beauty, and there's also a beauty in this sort of almost hypnotic rhythm in his words. It's great to read aloud. My youngest son is 7 months old, and I found that reading R.S. Thomas to him is a fantastic way to get to sleep. Although he doesn't understand much of it. I think the thing I like most about R.S. Thomas's stuff, though, is the way he was never afraid to question the things he cared about the most. By vocation, he was an Anglican vicar, and so he wrote a whole load of poems about how God is not there, and about prayers don't get answered, and about how horrendous and two-faced and hypocritical and narrow church people are. And he was this fervent Welsh nationalist, and a Welsh speaker, so he wrote in English, and he wrote poems about Wales being a bit rubbish, and about how ridiculous and naive Welsh nationalists could be. And I suppose that's why you can read his stuff and not write him off as a grumpy old man, because when he's criticising all these things, he's criticising himself. It's like the best sort of self-examination, and he voices his doubts in a way that only someone who really loves the things that he's tearing down can. I've seen these photos of him, and they show these rather frightening, grim-faced individual. And what little I've read of him suggests he wasn't a particularly easy man to know. I suppose that the most that people generally got of him was the poems themselves. He strikes me as a bit of a perfectionist as well. He kept coming back to subjects and ideas and trying to present them in different and better ways each time. Like in the poem that I'm going to read to you tonight, which is called Gospel Truth, which is his second go at telling the story of a rural family's tragedy. It's a play in 3 acts, sort of. That should be clear. And it's got 4 narrative voices. Gospel Truth. Mark Pugh. Who put me here? I must get on with this job.